Trying to find a homeschool curriculum for a 2-year-old is really, really hard. After all, you're only wanting to focus on the skills of fine motor development, gross motor development, language development, and social emotional development, as well as some practical life skills. So there's not a whole lot of options out there when it comes to curriculum focusing on those things. I have a 2-year-old though. She's turning 2 this month, and I needed to put together something so she is satisfied that she's doing school when her older brother is doing school as well. So I have a compilation of 2 main curriculums that I'm using behind me, as well as a whole lot of other fun stuff. So let me show you it. So I told you guys that there are 2 main curriculums that I'm pulling from, as well as some extra stuff. The one main curriculum that I had used before is Timberdoodle's preschool kit. I'm not using all of it, just pulling out a couple pieces from it. I don't have a curriculum review out for it yet. I will get that put up as soon as possible, and then put that down below so you guys can get into it. But I used it with my son and liked a lot of the pieces in there, so I'm pulling them out again for my daughter. The second main curriculum I'm using, which is new to me and I'm really excited about using it, is Purely Preschool, which is put together by Rachel at 7 and All here on YouTube. She was not liking many of the curriculums out there for preschool that she was seeing, and she wanted something in Spanish for her son because they're a bilingual family. So she put together this in Spanish first, and then all of us on YouTube asked her to translate it to English. My daughter is not ready for this full-blown curriculum yet, though. So what I'm gonna do is pare it down a little bit for her to what she would enjoy right now. But my main focus on using this right here is to eliminate some of the decision making from me as a busy mom of what books I'm gonna do and what activities I'm gonna do with my 2-year-old daughter, as well as have something dedicated just to her because she really, really wants to get involved with school. So I want to give her something that is just hers that she can do one-on-one with me. So Rachel's curriculum is put out in units by month. There's 4 weeks in a unit, and I believe the cost of them, I think right now is $5. They're really insanely cheap per month. And in each curriculum, she has a suggested weekly schedule, a book list right here all put together for you, a supplies list, and then a spread of ideas for each week. She has story suggestions, and if you don't have access to that story at the library, she has a YouTube link that you can go to find someone reading that story to you. There's discussion ideas for the children that are old enough to have discussions. For example, this one is, what would you do if you woke up and noticed snow falling outside your window? Which for us, that would be amazing here in North Carolina. We don't get a whole lot of snow here during the winter. And then there's some alphabet work, which I'm not going to do with my daughter most of the time because she's just not ready for learning the alphabet yet. There's some early math ideas through play. So right here, it's finishing the pattern on the snowflake. I've seen some that's, let's see how many apples you have in the fridge. Let's go count them. There's some play ideas that she has. There's a link to some music, which is one of the things that my daughter really loves. There's fine motor skills, life skills, health and safety, love homework, a Bible verse if you want to have your child memorize a Bible verse, and then some extras. And she has that laid out for each week, the theme, and then a whole bunch of activity cards, activity things that just print off so you don't have to go out and get a whole bunch of highfalutin finagled stuff. It's all right here, and you use basic art and craft supplies, which is another big win for this curriculum for me. So basic household supplies as well for most of the stuff you need in this curriculum. Probably what I'm mainly going to be focusing on here are the book lists, the thematic book lists, the play ideas, the music, life skills, sometimes not, depends on the life skill, and maybe motor skills, but I'm not positive. So the alphabet, merely math, it may be hit and miss, but definitely making my life easier on choosing what books I'm going to read with my daughter, because language development is what I want to focus on for her as a 2-year-old. So the 2 books that Rachel recommends for this week are, for the first week, is Snow by Cynthia Rylant and The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. I went to my bookshelf and found a whole bunch more ideas for snow. So we have a lot of books to cover in 1 week, which actually this is the perfect amount. We have 6 books to read in 1 week, which is perfect for my family. Not all of the weeks I'm going to have a lot of books though. So my second secret weapon here is going to be Read Aloud Revival's book lists. Online, she has a whole bunch of free book lists that you can print and use in your family. So, and one of the book lists things she has is picture books for each month. So, for example, for January, she has things like Extra Yarn by Mark Barnett, The Mitten by Jan Brett. She has some Martin Luther King Jr.'s books. So it is seasonally thematic and also holiday thematic. I really, really love these book suggestions. We've discovered a lot of new favorites from these lists. We've been looking at these lists for months. Before I move on to focusing on fine motor stuff, I want to throw in one more book which came from the Timberdoodle kit, which is the other main curriculum kit, as I said, that I'm pulling from. This is probably one of the best purchases I've ever had for school. The Usborne Big Book of Things to Spot. This is really, really good for the early years. It's 4 different 1001 books, things to spot books from Usborne. And in each spread here, so the first section is animals. This is in the desert animals. There's just a whole bunch of beautifully done artwork of various animals in the desert, in their habitat. And then on the side here are different animals that you find within the picture. So woodpeckers, jackrabbits, tortoises, Gila monsters, coyotes. I am going to start out with me just talking about the different animals and asking my daughter to see if she can find them in here, which works on visual discrimination. Eventually, when she gets more into preschool, we're going to start counting the different animals. So I'm going to have her find the jackrabbits, and as she finds each one, I'm going to count up for them to start patterning for her for the counting as a pre-math skill. The book goes through animals and then farm, and then it goes into the town. Where are we? Yes, 1001 things to spot in the town. So cafe, market town, nightlife, fortress town. And then in the end, we go to history. So things to spot through history and different spreads for different things to history. This last section I think would be really good for kindergarten and early elementary as an introduction to what each part in history looks like. As I said, I also wanted to focus on fine motor skills for my daughter, which includes playing with Play-Doh. I have different Play-Doh things. I have kinetic sand pools that she can use too, but this is what we had on our shelves right now. Wash pull markers. I mentioned this in another video, but I really love these crayon rocks, which help develop the triangle grip for later a good pencil grip. I also have safety scissors, so there's really no way you can cut yourself on this blade unless you're really, really, really trying. But they're also spring-loaded so that it's easier for their small hands to work with scissors. And then, of course, a glue stick. My daughter is really addicted to the scissors right now, but she's independent. She really does not like me guiding her hands, so it's taking her a while to learn, get the hang of cutting with scissors, but she's really addicted to it right now. To go along with all of those tools is my secret weapon. So when I'm working with my son, my daughter obviously has been needing to be entertained. What I have right here is a whole bunch of stuff that I had prepped for my son over the last couple years. There's a whole bunch of free printables online that I can get. There's a lot of stuff from totschooling.net like this, a dot marker worksheet. Another good place to find free dot marker worksheets is easypeasylearners.com. So this is an example of what I found from them. I also have color by number, paint by number, tracing. No, here it is, Play-Doh mats. Play-Doh mats like this. Put feathers on the turkey, or decorate what you're gonna eat for dinner. A lot of these I got from totschooling.net, and then I just plug it into a sheet protector so it doesn't get dirty and I can reuse them. And I put a couple of these in here at a time. So right now for my daughter, I have design a mitten, design a Christmas tree, put antlers on a reindeer, and then decorate a snowman. So these are really great, I guess you can call them jump starts for playing with Play-Doh. My son really, really loves playing with these. My daughter, if I'm not sitting there with her, she doesn't know what to do. And some of these can be a little bit hard for her to manage. So it is just a fun idea generator. I have coloring pages in here, and at the very back I have a whole bunch of stickers that I can pull out and just give her as needed. So yeah, this is my mama's secret weapon. There's a lot of prep work to go into this, but it saves a lot of stress on me in the middle of school. Okay, last but not least are some more workbooks that came from the Timberdoodle preschool curriculum kit. I'm not a huge fan of workbooks, but these right here definitely worth the investment. The Kumon Let's Cut paper. It starts off with just the child cutting on the gray strips, adding whiskers to animals, and then you start cutting scenes apart so you can rearrange them later and tape them together, so you have a little taping action going in there. There's a little bit more puzzles toward the end, and then you get fancy with curved lines that your child's cutting. Until the end, the cutting gets really challenging. So I would say I'm going to start this in a couple months with my daughter once she gets a better hang on how to use these scissors. For now, I'm just going to keep giving her strips and then maybe start drawing lines on the strips of paper so she can practice cutting on lines. But she's not quite ready for this yet. And another favorite from Kumon that my son really loved is the Let's Fold. So at the beginning, you have something simple like this. One straight line that your child folds on, and when it folds up, you start playing peekaboo with the animal. Then later you have things like this, where it's the inside of the fruit, and you fold it up to have the outside, and then you can see what's going on the inside of the fruit or vegetable. And then towards the end you have front and back with animals. And then there's a ship captain that turns into an actual ship. So there's a lot of fun stuff that you're doing folded in here. Precursors to even some origami there at the end. The other series of workbooks that I did really enjoy from Timberdoodle, but there was a lot of these from Gawken, so we didn't get through it all. We had the Elite Kit, and it was just too much. So I would recommend, if you buy from Timberdoodle, don't get the full Elite Kit. Just pick and choose what you pretty sure you think you're going to actually work through. I am not going to be pushing alphabet with my daughter, but I love what's in here with these Gawken workbooks. It's very developmentally appropriate. It has some coloring practice right here, so the child is filling in the hole, which, by the way, there is another workbook from Kumon that is essentially the same thing, filling in the hole. My son did not really like it, so there's a little bit that I'm going to give my daughter left over from that one that he didn't finish. But there's other things in here like draw in here the smoothie that's being made, or cut and paste like here these things into the tree, and then you can do tracing of the letter as a practice of learning how the letters are formed, or drawing a mane on the line. So this is a lot of coloring and cutting and pasting, which is why I like this book, and I'm gonna keep it for my daughter. My son did a few pages at the beginning, but as I said, it wasn't quite perfect. Oh, and then there's also some stickers in here that she can use and stuff as well. When you're with other homeschool parents and you're talking about homeschooling your 2-year-old, there's a big group out there that are going to jump on you and say, don't you dare homeschool your child until they're 6 or 7, because the younger children are just supposed to play or be read to. And while they have a great point, younger children should be developing their language skills by being read to. They should learn through play. Those of us who want a plan set out for us so we don't have to think about what we're going to do next appreciate a curriculum that has made all those decisions about what tools my child are going to use for playing, what books my child are going to read, and what activities my child are going to do. So it's not an official sit down at the table, do curriculum. And that is one of the big reasons I love Timberdoodle kits for the younger age. So a bunch of what I have behind me comes from Timberdoodle. Some of it is some other stuff that I pulled in, but I've got a whole bunch of puzzles and games because that is definitely a great way for your child to learn. One thing Timberdoodle does not have in their kits, but which is a Montessori favorite, and I really love Montessori's ideas for educating the young years as well, because she is very, very aware of developmental needs. But there's a lot of tubes, Safari LTD tubes that you can get that are thematic. So this one is a whole bunch of bugs. And then there's printables like this. Whoops. Printables like this, where your child has the bug. So there's the spider, and then there's the cockroach. And they're supposed to get the bug and match it to the actual picture here. So it's kind of a 2D to 3D type thing. So it's a little bit of puzzle, it's a little bit of play and language as you're sitting there with your child naming each bug. So that is one way you can play and educate at the same time. You don't have to have this Safari LTD animal specific to do this. There's other brands out there that you could use, but there's a lot of pre-done printables that you can get from like Teachers Pay Teachers, or you may even be able to find them for free out there that you can just print off and laminate to make an activity like this a whole lot easier for your child. Other classic things you can do with your child or puzzles. This is a great set from Orchard Toys. I'm actually not sure if this is still available, but these are self-correcting puzzles, sets of 4 and 8. I have some more puzzles from Eric Carlisle, sets of 4 to 12. There's the classic knob puzzles. This was a gift from my mother-in-law, and I'm not sure where she got them, but these are really, really good for preschool age. Fine motor development as well. And then Melissa and Doug has amazing sets of these wooden boxes for jigsaw puzzles. There's 4 different puzzles inside of a theme. So this one is all vehicles. And each puzzle is a 12-piece puzzle. My daughter may not be ready for 12-piece puzzles yet. My 18-month-old, no, he was closer to 2. My 4-year-old son, who's gifted, was doing this. So I just got it out to see when she's ready for it. Timberdoodle does have some puzzles in their kits, but one of the games that I found, which is kind of a puzzle from their Tiny Tot curriculum kit, is this Let's Play Animal Bingo. I'm not actually sure if they still have it in their kits, but this is one of the ones that came from their kit, and it is amazing. So a bingo type game, or this bingo matching type game here, really, really is a good idea for your younger child. You can do language development, talking about the different types of bugs here, turn-taking development, and it's a cooperative play. That's how I do it. You flip a piece over and then find out which board it actually goes on. This game right here is going to be a little bit more about visual discrimination, because the piece right here doesn't perfectly match what's here. So this sheep is just sleeping, this sheep is sleeping with a hat. So your child has a little bit further step to make the match. I mentioned this game in a previous video, so I'm going to link that up here and not talk about it very much. But this is a great game for social emotional development and all of the early education skills you'd want in a game format. It's also the #1 game my daughter picks if you go to tell her to go to the game cupboard and choose a game. This is probably the one she's always going to come out with. A game I recently introduced to my daughter, and my son loved a whole lot as well, was very first games from Haba, my first orchard. So in this game, you have an orchard that you put all your different pieces of fruit on. You have a picnic basket that you're trying to pick all the fruit and put into the basket. And then there's a path that a crow is going down. Now it's a cooperative game, and you're going to roll the die, and whatever color is on top, that's the color you pick from your orchard to put into your picnic basket. The goal, though, is to get all the fruit into the picnic basket before the crow, which is there on the die as well, moves to the end of the path and starts eating all your fruit in your picnic basket. So it is a cooperative game that teaches colors, turn taking, and all the social emotional skills, and just has a fun time with your kid as well. Okay, last but definitely not least is this big set of magnet tiles from the Timberdoodle curriculum kit. This thing is pricey. It is very pricey, but I would say it is probably some of the best spent money I have done on my kids in the last 4 years. This kit comes with a whole bunch of different shapes. So you have your squares, you have 2 different shapes of triangles, you have hexagons and octagons in here, you have wheels and magnet covers. So there's a lot of building type action you can do with this kit. I got it for my son when he was about 18 months. He was addicted just matching the shapes. And this is actually something my daughter has been doing a lot the last several months. She loves matching the shapes here and just having the challenge and the feel of working with the magnets. This kit does come with a book that you can take it a little bit further for shape education. So here is a picture and it outlines the shapes that you need to build this castle. The child's job is to find the shape and to put it into the appropriate spot. Later in the book, you get a little bit more vague, and then there's a hint on how you can build this with the shapes. And then they show you how to go 2D to 3D with your building, as well as have some more building challenges here and instructions. So there is a lot of play in this kit from Timberdoodle, and it's definitely worth the money. So there you have it, guys. These are all the tools that I'm going to be utilizing for my 2-year-old's homeschool over the next several months. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to bump that like button and let me know it. If you want to see what my 4-year-old's going to be up to with curriculum, go ahead and check this video out when it comes out right here. In the meantime, it's just going to be a video that YouTube thinks you should watch. If you're interested in the fun January school boxes that I put together for my kids of all the fun extras, check out this video right here.